Welcome back to the 76 Report. We are talking about something incredibly interesting today. Section 230. Now, before your eyes glaze over, this is a really important case that could, maybe, hopefully, go to the Supreme Court. Because if you've ever heard of something called Wall Street Bets, really popular, super popular as a subreddit, and more, like has become almost like a cultural phenomenon. Think Roaring Kitty, you know the drill. Anyway, this whole thing, and Rob, you know, we're going to bring the founder in just a second. It came to our attention because Jamie Rogozinski, who started it, wound up in a lawsuit with Reddit because they took over the trademark of the Wall Street Bets subreddit that he founded, which has massive implications, frankly, for any creator in the creator economy, because guess what? It means that if you start something on a platform, any given platform, the court has decided in this particular case that the platform owns it, which is wild. Let's get over to Jamie now. Hey, Jamie, good to have you here joining us on the program today at 76Research. Walk us through this, because it's like, there's part of me that's like, how can this be? I mean, like, you created this. You created Wall Street Bets, which is really pretty famous now, and yet you don't own it.
First of all, thanks for having me on to both you, Trish and Rob. But yeah, this confusion is the thing that I've been struggling with for 5 years. It makes no sense, to the point where people are like, yeah, clearly there's a catch. You're missing something. And when they actually read what's going on, they're like, wait a second, what? The situation that we're facing here is at this point, it's above me. It's not even about Wall Street Bets or even Reddit at this point. Like, at this point, it's the Section 230. Why are we here? Section 230, look, Americans are angry about it, with no surprise there. I'm not going to open up that can of worms, but they've also just pretty much given up and said, all right, we'll just learn to live alongside it. Social media companies now want more, right? And so just for viewers that may not be familiar with Section 230, in the event that they haven't, Section 230 basically is a law that gives platforms immunity for the content that's posted by their users. So if somebody puts in illicit videos or breaks laws or whatever, like, look, you can't sue me if my user posted something they shouldn't have posted. It blocks free speech. So they've taken that law that was passed in the 90s, and it turned into this thing where now they can like censor and they can whatever it is. In order to have that immunity, these platforms say we're an intermediary platform. We are literally just a distribution method. You can't really blame the messengers. The printing press can't be sued for what the New York Times says or whatever. And they've enjoyed those immunity protections. And now they want to be able to say, no, we own the content, but we're not responsible. We're not liable for it. In other words, they want to not be able to be sued. And at the same time, they want to be the owners. They want to monetize.
They want to have their cake and eat it too, right? I mean, but it's bonkers to me.
Here's a hypothetical. What if GameStop short squeeze were found to have been illegal? Who do you sue? You can't sue Reddit because there's Section 230, like SAC and FINRA. They're like, yeah, they're just a platform. They're like, yeah, but we own it and control it and monetize it. It's like, okay, so now what do we do? I mean, it's just a complete paradox. It's unreconcilable.
I kind of can't believe, like, it's like, Reddit, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? Like, don't you want other creators on your platform? Why would they go to war with you over this? I want to actually point something out that is on the Reddit site. And let me just put this up on screen right now. So here, we'll cover me here. This is on Reddit, and it says that when you post your content, you retain any ownership rights that you have in your content, but you grant Reddit the following license to use that content. So they have a license to use your content, but they don't own your content. They say it right there.
I mean, that's just a contract that you agreed to. What's a contract? Like, what good is a contract when you have Section 230?
Actually, this is really important. I think like every creator out there should really like notice this and pay attention, because coming up with the name or being a creator of a community apparently is not going to guarantee you trademark ownership. And even if you go out there and you register that trademark, you file the application, you do everything because you get this great little community and you want to make sure that you own that community. What they're saying is what actually matters is commercial use. So use in commerce is what actually applies to the trademark. So let's think about this for a second. So you're an Instagrammer and, you've got a mom blog. I mean, I'm just making this up, mommy, and me. And like, you're the brand. Suppose you're the woman behind that. And you started that on Instagram. Per this law, as it currently exists, would Instagram technically own mommy and me?
Well, with the way that judges are interpreting that law, it is.
We have actually some sound of the lawyer, I think it's for Reddit, in the courtroom trying to justify this. And the judge goes back on him. And his justification here is sort of wild to me. And I'm sort of shocked that the court didn't side with you. I mean, the whole thing is sort of mind-blowing because if this is the case, then it has massive implications for the entire creator economy. And there's nothing to say that, everybody couldn't wind up with their thing taken right away. Here, let's go to this.
He, in this hypo, say he had a Yahoo chat or whatever with Wall Street Bets before. Are you saying he would then be able to bring it to Reddit, or somehow Yahoo would have a claim against Reddit then? Because I'm a little confused by the colloquy you just had, because if having done it before would allow him to bring it to Reddit, I'm a little confused why he can't take it away from Reddit and go somewhere else, which is what he wants to do.
Well, he can, Your Honor, we are the owner of the mark in connection with, we're the rightful owner of the mark in connection with the service of providing an online discussion forum. In a hypothetical where he alone, I don't know if it were on Yahoo or something, but where he alone had created an online discussion forum service that predated Reddit, I think that would be a very different case. How exactly, who owns the mark in that hypothetical world, very different from these facts. I'm not sure. It would depend on what was the nature of what he had created.
But hold on, but on your theory, then Yahoo or whoever would have that ownership interest.
I think it would depend, Your Honor, on how the forum existed.
No, let's assume it existed in the same way that it did in this case. Let's say that they started in Yahoo, but maybe they started there a month, and they only had 5 people that got involved, 10 people, 100 people. But then they said, no, I think I'm going to go to Reddit, and they went to Reddit, and then they had a lot more success there. Well, under your analysis, then, in that Yahoo or whoever would have that right, that ownership interest.
So maybe, I think that might well be right, but that also doesn't seem that surprising at all, because Yahoo in this hypothetical, and again, it's just very different from the facts, as there's nothing like this alleged in the complaint, I stress. But in that hypothetical, Yahoo would be the original provider of an online forum service under the name Wall Street Bets. But again, I think I would just want to know more about what were the facts of that discussion forum as it existed before it came to Reddit. And
Wow. Okay. I just want to also let you know that ChatGPT is apparently on your side, Jamie, because a quick search, you get this. Let me throw this one up. Check it out. They call it the Rogozinski ruling is a warning. They say to every creator, community, founder, podcaster, influencer, and business using a platform they may not own.
Holy
Whoa.
cow,
Okay. So Trish
something.
Regan,
Wow.
76Research, Joe Rogan, Logan Paul, everyone is somewhat vulnerable here. We just talk about the creator economy and the power of it all the time and how amazing it is. And effectively, this is shifting power entirely towards the platforms themselves, as opposed to giving it to the power into the hands of the creator. And that's a really disturbing nuance of all of this. And
and it's doubly strange because it's like the one platform that you started in gets the ownership of the assets. So you could just think of this, how complicated it'll be. If a creator is on multiple platforms, then now they all have to sue each other, or they can enjoin, Facebook can enjoin X because that's our content. We own everything about that because they were on our platform first. It creates a very chaotic situation that would really lead to just the whole disintegration of the kind of the architecture of all of this kind of online creative content.
Wow. I'm still sitting here just dismayed and horrified and clearly, I mean, again, like if it hadn't become an issue, but it did, thanks to you, and, you know, good for you and good for your lawyer for like taking it on, because this is the kind of thing that, you know, we should be shouting from the rooftops. Everybody like pay attention, because this is not good, and it needs to be challenged and it needs to be figured out.